On October 8, 2018, Hurricane Michael underwent a 48-hour rapid intensification period where it went from a Category 1 hurricane to a Category 4 hurricane. By landfall on October 10, 2018 at 12:30 p.m. Central Time, Hurricane Michael was an unprecedented for the region Category 5 hurricane, making landfall near Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida. Hurricane Michael was the strongest hurricane in recorded history to make landfall on the Florida Panhandle. Landing with sustained winds of 161 miles per hour and a minimum pressure of 919 millibars, the storm was the fourth most powerful hurricane to hit the United States, spreading devastation far inland through many counties in northwestern Florida, from Bay County, Gulf County, Calhoun County, even through Jackson County and Leon County, where the state capital is located. Hurricane Michael was unique in that it maintained its major hurricane status all the way through the Florida-Georgia state line. As it entered Seminole County, Georgia, it was still a strong Category 3 hurricane. Across northwestern Florida and into the state of Georgia, Hurricane Michael was responsible for $25 billion in damages. These are the 31 voices of Hurricane Michael, representing the many unique experiences and perspectives of the community members who endured the storm and its impacts. Voices of hope, empathy, pain, lessons learned, grit, determination, and extensive insight into one of the most catastrophic hurricane seasons the Florida Panhandle has ever encountered. I'm meteorologist Melissa Thomas, and allow me to introduce you to
meteorologist Melissa Thomas, here with a few voices this time of the Hurricane Michael's Voice Project. Today, we are speaking with Miss Mariah Stallings, Mark Stallings, little Hollis, Michael, and they have another little one, little Rosemary, who is not with us today, another little mini Hurricane Michael's voice. So we miss her.
Yes.
We got most of the crew here today.
Yes.
And we're speaking today about the recovery efforts of Hurricane Michael, who made landfall on October 10th, 2018. So we're coming up on the year anniversary. And we're going to get a little bit of insight from Mariah and her family today, because she rode the storm out in a very unique manner that we haven't heard from yet. So let's go ahead and dive right in. But let's start with, how was Panama City home to you guys pre-Hurricane Michael's landfall?
So I'm from here. I was born here, lived here my first 18 years. We went to high school together. We both graduated.
Yes, we did.
2009. Celebrating.
Rams.
Yeah, go Rams. 10 years this year. But yeah, I'm from here, and then I moved to Tallahassee. Went to school over there for 5 years. Met my husband over there. And then something about Panama City like sinks its teeth into you, and you can't get away from this place.
Preach.
Like, I don't know what it is.
You're both Seminoles, correct? You both graduated FSU? Or
I went to TCC, but yeah, he's Seminoles.
The nursing school is amazing.
They have an amazing, I'm respiratory, but they're nursing. Yeah, they have an
you're
amazing.
respiratory,
Yeah.
that's right, yes.
But something about Panama City, I always thought that I never wanted to end up back here, and here we are, raising our kids here. It's kind of crazy. We lived in Illinois for a few months, but we still had our house here, and something about the beach, we just end up back here, honey. It's crazy, huh?
Yeah. We met in Tallahassee. Stayed there for a few years.
But yeah, we moved back here in 2014. And
I was dying to come back here. She was iffy, but I had grown to like Panama City from being in Tallahassee and just coming here on the weekends and stuff.
And he's from down south in Miami.
I'm from Miami, yeah. And went through Hurricane Andrew in my neighborhood in Cutler Ridge there.
So you've been through a
5.
hurricane?
Yeah, I've been through it.
You've been through Hurricane Andrew. I'm sorry, I just registered
Yeah, Category 5. It tore our neighborhood all apart in our house. It was real
He
similar
talks
to
about it
this.
all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So we're speaking with a Hurricane Andrew survivor,
Yeah, that's right.
How old were you?
now Hurricane Michael
It
survivor.
was 92, August 24th, 92, I believe. Yeah. So I was working in Atlanta I'm in the union, electrical workers union.
Let's pivot back to that for like a second, though.
Yeah.
While we're on that subject,
Yeah.
can you make comparisons with Hurricane Michael recovery?
Oh, that's
and
what I was
Hurricane
gonna
Andrew?
say,
Okay. Because please dive into that a little
That's
bit
what I was
more.
gonna say. Well, I mean, the reason, like I said, I was out of town in Atlanta.
He works out of
Went to
town.
sleep at night, and was talking to her, not worrying about it. I said, it's a 2 or 3.
For Hurricane
I've been
Michael.
through a million
Right,
of
for
them. You know what
Michael,
I
yeah.
mean? 2 or 3 is nothing. It's just gonna rain. It's gonna be
Gonna be a
windy.
lot of rain.
And then I woke up in the morning, like 5 o'clock, whenever to get ready for work. And they said it was a 4, could be a 5. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like shaking, grabbing random stupid stuff. I wasn't even thinking in my hotel room. Threw it in a bag and shot home at that point. Because I was like, category 5 will change your life. You know what I mean? I already know for sure. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a kid or you're young, it changes your life. You know what I mean? So I shot home. Drove into the storm as everybody was headed the other way. All the cops, everything was doing 100+ miles an hour, shooting home, and made it from Atlanta in record time. No doubt about that. As I was coming into Tallahassee, the highway patrol was bugging out. 50 or 60 of them all at a time. I was the only one headed into the storm.
Yeah, everyone
that's
was
for
going,
sure.
it was crazy, I'm sure.
Trying to get back to you.
That was that
pregnant
morning,
wife.
yeah.
Oh God, yeah, that's exactly right. I
So
mean,
just
once I saw
flashbacks
it was
of
a
that.
4 or 5, I knew that they had no idea what was about to happen.
We didn't know.
And I mean, like I said, a 2 or 3 is no big deal. It rains and whatever. Everything's closed for a day.
Do you remember what time you pulled in that morning?
No, I don't. But like I said, I was going over 100 miles an hour about the whole entire way. And then when it started getting hilly, south of I-10, a gust of wind hit me like a band or whatever, and I spun a little bit. And I stopped in the middle of the interstate. There's no cars anywhere on either side. I was like, I need to get slow. I need to slow down. So I did 75 or so the rest of the way, flying into town. It was crazy.
Your hands
Not
were
a
so
car all the
sore.
way. I stopped, and my hands were. I was just like this, like I said, going over 100 miles an hour the whole way.
And you were probably really tense the whole way.
This
I
was,
was
yeah, that,
freaking
the morning
out.
of.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the worst going through my head. I had to sit there and literally pry my fingers off the steering wheel.
Yeah, because he knew we didn't leave.
Yeah,
So.
because I knew they weren't going anywhere.
Now, leading up to you not leaving and you racing to get back into town, what kind of preparations had you done leading up to landfall? Did you? Were you thinking
No.
hurricanes when
Well,
this rolled around?
Not really.
We thought it was going to be like a 2 or 3, you know. So he was out of town. I was pregnant with our 2-year-old at the time. We have a giant back porch. I had a whole bunch of stuff on it, a bunch of yard toys. So I was trying to get everything in. My parents came over. They helped me do sandbags and stuff. But we just basically made sure everything was tied down under the porch. I didn't think to like bring stuff inside
Her
or
parents
like.
are right down the street.
My parents live a mile away, so they were
I knew
very
she was going
helpful.
there. They were all going to be there.
We just wanted to get all of our stuff safe. So like some of the stuff I put in the shed, but everything else we just kind of like put under the back patio. And I was like, oh, it's just going to be a bunch of wind. You know, we'll just make sure everything's tied down, and that was it.
So you're racing the eye of the hurricane, literally doing like
Oh, the
going
edge,
like
yeah,
this,
racing
like-
into it, yeah.
And you get in. You guys are hunkered down, going through the storm.
We're at
Must
my
have
mom's
been-
house, actually. Yeah, because
Right.
our house, we live kind of near the goat farm. You know, yeah, the goat farm. So we live near the goat farm, and they were under a mandatory evacuation. But my mom lives just literally a mile more inland, and they weren't under the evacuation.
Right.
So, like I said, at the time, we were thinking it was going to be a 2 or 3. I told him it's just going to be much wind and rain, because he was like, I'm just going to come home. I'm going to come home. I'm like, don't worry about it. Just stay there. So me, my daughter, and my papa, my mom, and my stepdad were just going to ride the storm out at our house. So I stayed there the night before. And I remember, I don't know if you were getting the notifications on your phone, but throughout the night, I mean, all my friends had evacuated by then, you know, and so they were texting me like, you're crazy, like, what are you thinking? Why are you staying there? And I was just gonna do whatever my parents did. I was at my parents' house.
I knew Ron was not leaving. We knew.
I was gonna do whatever my parents did, you know.
So that was that. They were not leaving.
We went to bed that night, and I went ahead and was at my mom's house. That way we would wake up and just already be there, you know. And just I remember the notifications on my phone. Like every hour, you got these crazy notifications about Hurricane Michael is this close and it's strengthening and blah blah blah. And like waking up I was looking on the way here all my screenshots, and I have one at like 12:36, and it's like Hurricane Michael is now a Category 4. And I went in there like a little kid and I woke my mom up. I'm like, Mom, are you like getting these notifications? Because I knew that if we needed to, my grandparents are in Mississippi, so we were gonna bug out to Mississippi. And that was like our backup plan. And so I went in there and I'm like, look, are you getting these? Like, are you?
It's good that you had notifications on your phone. I
Yeah.
mean, you obviously had apps
Oh,
downloaded,
yeah.
and that's
I think it was the
that's
Bay
something a lot
County-
of people have. And so we're always trying to get that word out.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
go on your online Play stores,
It
your
might
Apple
be the county
stores.
one.
I think it's a
Yeah.
Bay County app or
Get those,
something.
yeah, get those apps that send notifications to you.
For sure.
Stay weather aware.
For sure.
It's very important.
But yeah, so I went in there and woke them up. I'm like, are you paying attention to this? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh, it's fine. So we went to bed as much as we could sleep that night. I don't think I did at all because I was watching I don't think I slept that
I was
night.
up till 5 or 6 in the morning, and of course my inbox as a meteorology student is just flooding with
Yeah.
friends and family. And I mean, honestly, like
So you're in
that-
Tallahassee
That
or?
helped me stay a little grounded and connected. Yes, I was
Okay.
in Tallahassee, and when the eye came over, or throughout the night as it's building, I mean, I remember people had already gone to bed with the 3.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, yeah.
I'm awake as it's turning into a 4, and I'm
Oh,
thinking,
yeah.
oh my gosh, they're gonna wake
They're
up
scared, yeah.
terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which is what happened with him. Yeah, so it was me, our
Pregnant.
3-year-old pregnant, 22 weeks pregnant, our 3-year-old 2-year-old daughter at the time, my 85-year-old papa, my mom, my stepfather, and 3 dogs and 2 cats. And my husband, and like I said, all the animals are all afraid of thunderstorms and stuff. Anyway, so that also added a whole nother thing into it as well.
Perfect.
Now, just to skip ahead to recovery for like 2 seconds, because we're on that note, we're going to
Sure.
pivot back to going through the storm. Has that worsened their storm anxiety, the animals, or can you tell the difference?
You know, the dog actually did so our dog is the most insane dog in the world when it comes to storm anxiety. She, before the storm a few years ago, ate through a giant hole in our sheetrock and drywall in our bathroom, trying to get away from like fireworks and stuff. So she absolutely freaks out. We have to put her in her crate and try to give her some sort of like something to chill her out.
So you would say did it make it worse going through Hurricane Michael, or just kind of a non-issue?
Probably the same. She did great throughout the
the same.
storm, though.
It was
That,
already bad
because
that was the
pre-storm,
miracle
so-
thing was she did great through the storm.
we had to put her in her crate.
Which is very strange.
At first, we had her in the garage, just because we felt like that was the safest place because she starts to dig and we didn't want her to mess up the carpet. What we noticed what worked in the hurricane was it was actually our daughter's white noise machine.
Yeah.
She sleeps with a white noise machine at night. And we ended up having to move our dog from the garage because the door was going insane and it was really loud and freaking her out
The house
some.
started coming apart.
We moved her from the garage into a bathroom and put the white noise machine on. That was like, she did amazing.
Yeah,
it was
it was
insane.
very
Invest in a
strange.
white noise machine. They're awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
So now the storm is actually kind of starting to affect your structure that you're hiding in.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, remember the first thing, we're at a big picture window
They have a giant window in the front,
at
yeah.
the front of their house. It's, like I said, like a mile away
I think at
from
this
our
time we
house.
still had power, or did we lose it
I
already?
think so.
But I didn't have cell phone service already. I think my Verizon tower was already knocked out because I remember sending things to Savannah and it didn't go through. So I had Verizon, and by 10 o'clock my cell phone was already knocked out.
And my cheap AT&T phone worked without stopping through the whole entire thing. Straight talk AT&T phone.
Yeah, but we were looking out this giant window, and you can just see the rain like coming inside. And at first, it was just like a lot of wind, like what we expected, just like a lot of wind. And you see the trees and stuff going. Well, then you see like a couple bigger things going by.
Yeah, and then the mailbox hit the neighbor's mailbox, flew and hit the window, and we all went back a bit, and your mom said, "Oh, that's so-and-so's mailbox," and she started heading for the door handle, and I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." And then just a few minutes later, I mean,
It got insane.
It was
yeah.
plywood and roof and everything.
You see everything, and then we saw a piece of plywood smash into her car. So we knew that her window was busted,
And then a piece karate chopped her car, plywood, blew all the windows out.
but we didn't know that yet until after the storm. But yeah, so then, I mean, it was a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and then I guess the eye came, and that's when you ran outside to see everything.
Yeah, but I
'Cause
think
the first
before
band-
that even is when the roof came off around the front door.
We were worried about that giant picture window breaking, and I remember all of a sudden it got really bright, and we thought the window had busted, but we looked up, and I remember standing there in front of the window, and like I said, Papa was there, and I don't cuss or anything in front of him, but I just remember saying "holy," like multiple times over and over and over
yeah,
again
yeah.
because
Everybody
my
knows
mom's
that.
house is brick. And you think it's like a safe house, and they have this giant front porch. And I remember you just saw like a brick start to fall.
Porch that we're
The porch
looking
started
out
to
the
fall.
window, the porch started coming apart.
And as
then
the
we
porch
saw
started going,
bricks
yeah.
come by, and I was like, oh man, bricks. That's
And when the
bad.
porch ripped off, it took part of the roof with it.
Then the roof started peeling back.
So then you're looking up at the sky, and the hurricane's in the house.
Her
and
mother
it's
got
raining.
hit by sheetrock in the head.
We're
and she
trying to
was
like clean up
bleeding.
stuff.
It was pretty intense for a while.
Yeah, as the ceiling's falling, you're trying to like save everything from underneath
Which
it,
is
you know?
stupid. I mean, in the end,
But you don't
throw
think-
it all away in the end.
Yeah,
but
you don't think
while you're
about it at
trying
the
to
time.
You have adrenaline
scurry.
rushing.
Yeah.
We had a hallway full of people. We're packing deeper and deeper down this hallway. I remember when
Yeah.
your grandfather said, "Do you think it's going to get worse than this?" I said, "I can't believe he's asking me."
Because that was before the eye, yeah.
Like I said, for him to ask my advice is unbelievable. So I said, "Yeah, I think it's going to get a little worse for sure."
Yeah, so by that time we for sure had no power, no cell phone. Thankfully, we had charged the Kindle, and we had SpongeBob on the Kindle for Rosemary, and we could put her in the hallway. And
She was great, too.
She sat there and just
Unbelievable.
watched the Kindle the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
As the roof was falling
As
around
the place
her.
was tearing apart, she was
She just
still
sat
in
there
the
on the Kindle.
hallway, being so
SpongeBob.
good.
And she was 3 years old.
2, yeah.
2 years old. She's a 2-year-old.
A month
Just
shy of 3,
Yeah, almost
yeah.
3.
being so resilient through something so
Unbelievable.
traumatic, wild, and crazy. And
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
But her thing is, in the end, we had a little neighborhood of these plastic kind of houses for the kids playing. It's got a kitchen in it. It's
In
got
the
a little
backyard.
house. We had almost a little neighborhood of those things. Oh, and of course, those are all gone. You know, they're big, bulky, like plastic things. And she would say,
My house blew away. in
my
the
house
sky.
blew away. My house blew away. So we'd go to Miami, you know,
And she
travel
would tell
around, and she'd say, "Oh,
everybody.
my house blew away," and everybody'd be like, "Oh," and we're like,
She plays the hurricane
"Well, our
victim very
house
well."
is still there.
We have to
It's
explain that it's
damaged,
not like our
but
house. She means like her play, but to her that is her house.
To her,
you
it was
know?
her whole
Like,
little neighborhood.
And her
that
house
is
blew
so
away in the
sweet.
sky.
I'm trying not to scream. I was trying to be so quiet through all of this.
We have just recently started
Bought a new-
adding
yeah.
the little buildings back. Oh,
But
she
she'll
loves
still
it.
go up and tell people, my house blew away in the sky.
Yeah, but
you
now I
know,
like to think that she'll say, "But we have more. We're rebuilding my little neighborhood." You know?
Hopefully, yeah.
I love that. That is so perfect.
But she
It
did
is.
great in the hallway.
Yeah, my God.
And then, yeah, the ceiling started coming down, and we started trying to grab whatever. There wasn't much in the front dining room because that's where we lost the whole roof. But I remember I had my double stroller in there. It was brand new in the box, and I was pregnant with him, and that was the only thing that I had at the house. So I was like dragging the double stroller around trying to save it from all the water. But
So as
after-
the house is peeling back, we're
Trying to
slowly
move
inching
stuff.
back and trying to save things, and it's coming more, and,
and we're
trying
trying to
save
clean it up, and that's when the
more.
ceiling fell on my mom. We had, like brooms and dustpans, and she was like trying to clean it up, and like the ceiling fell from all the water, and it hit her in the head. But she was totally fine. But it's scary, of course, And then the eye
And
came,
then it stops. Everything stops. We're in the eye.
and you went outside.
And we
a bunch
went
of y'all went outside.
outside because a bunch of stuff was coming this way. So we took what was ready to smash into the house and
'Cause we
moved
knew it was gonna
around.
come the
We knew it was
other
gonna come
way.
the other way. So we moved around the front of the house, and other people were starting to do the same thing down the street. And I said, "Watch out when it comes back, the
coming
back
back.
wall is not like the front hitting where it slowly builds up for hours. The back wall just hits you." So we're running around, we're talking to neighbors, "Are you all right? Are you all right?"
And then it came back.
We got with the neighbor next door. His house was really ripping apart good, and he had a lot of people in his house. And shortly after, they ended up smashing the window of the church.
That's right.
When
They
the most
completely
intense
lost
part
the whole
came,
roof.
he had to feed his kids and family members through the window in the church. They got cut up going through the glass. But
Yeah,
that was,
it was insane.
when the back of the wall hit. You know what I mean? The back of the eye
The
hit.
second part and just smashed
Yeah, so
everything
here we
out
are
of the way.
trying to scurry and move some stuff around and make sure everybody's all right in the other houses. And then bam, it was like an 80-mile-an-hour
Yeah.
gust. Everybody almost fell over. And we were,
I'm
I said,
screaming at them like, get
"Get
back
in the
inside!"
house! Get in the house!" And everybody ran back in. By the time you slam the door behind you, bam, it was probably the worst of it was on us right then, right after the eye.
Yeah, and then by that time, like I said, the roof was gone, so then the rain just started coming in. And we're at my mom's house, and like I said, we live a mile away, so we're just thinking, oh my gosh, like our house, like gosh knows
Everything
what
that
it.
you've prepared for the pregnancy, stockpiling.
Yeah, I'm thinking, oh, everything could be gone, which was pretty crazy.
Luckily, we were a mile away, right? And we
Yeah.
walked it. It was an intense walk. We climbed a lot of giant pine trees in our neighborhood. We had to climb over them, and we had
Put Ron's
water up
shed
to
and
about
the fence.
here.
So while it was still going on, we had the big front window that we were like watching out and like watching everything smash up front, and then we had a giant sliding glass door in the back, and you could see the big shed that was full of all these heavy tools and stuff. The shed lifting off the ground.
You had 3
Like-
or 4 feet, and it would slam
Yeah,
down.
the whole
The back
shed
was
lifting off the
attached
ground.
more than the front, I guess, and it was
That
lifting up
was
and
great.
slamming
And then you
down.
see the shed get ripped apart.
I think that is the third or fourth fully filled with heavy utility or
And it
tools
just-
shed that I've heard got lifted up.
Yeah,
Like,
we were
that's
watching
something
it
good that
slam.
we can learn from the project and spread awareness
Oh.
of is like with a storm of this scale, think about that shed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where it
that's
might
right.
land.
Tie downs,
Tie it
everything.
down.
I mean,
if you
heavy
can.
machinery, you know what I mean?
Because
And
that
it was
wasn't the only one.
in a corner, like it had been put through a blender, and
Yeah.
everything was packed in what was left of the shed in that little corner.
Yeah, everything's all, and then you lose everything because of course all the water, and it's all salt water that comes in, so everything gets rusted.
Salt
so that was
water,
insane.
that's right.
And then my stepdad had also just put up a brand new privacy fence like the week before.
Oh man!
I mean, they
real
put it up
beefy
themselves.
Screws. It took forever to build in his off time because he's
So
busy.
it was really hard staying in there
Just
watching that
finished
get
it,
ripped
just
up.
finished it. And he's watching it peel away panel by. I have to give it credit. Extra beefy fence, and it flew away one panel at a time, and it was a bit of it held but was flattened. Oh, like it tearing his guts out as
It
it was
was
blowing
rough.
apart.
Tear
You know?
apart.
He put so much blood, sweat, and tears into the damn thing. Jeez.
And never throughout the whole thing did I think we were like gonna die or anything like I didn't think it was that bad at all. But it's hard watching your parents' house get ripped apart.
Oh yeah,
And I remember
watching them be scared to
and-
death.
yeah.
I mean, that's the most.
And I remember
intense.
just going up to my mom and just hugging her and just crying. I'm like, I'm so sorry about your house, because I'm just like, it's your house. I don't even know.
It's
It
your
was
home where
crazy.
you raised your
Yeah.
family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Memories. A lot of recurring thoughts is losing a home is like losing a family member. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was insane. But then I finally stopped, and there's trees everywhere, and it was still light outside. I mean, it was what, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. I mean, it was still pretty.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
it
it
was
was
daylight. We had
afternoon.
plenty of daylight for sure. His phones are down, TV's down, so we didn't.
Sweltering hot, pouring sweat.
Yeah. And so we're like, well, we gotta find out what our house
We
looks
have
like.
to see what our house looks like.
You know, if it's busted open in the roof and everything's damaged, or
The storm moves through, and you are dying to see your home. at
yeah,
this
we got to know what our house
Just
looks like.
down the street.
Because our house is a brick house. My parents' house is a brick house, and I'm thinking, okay, if their brick house
We
got
saw bricks fly through the air.
God knows
so
what ours
you know
looks
how bad
like.
that is. We're right on the water.
So he's like,
the
I'm gonna
coast is
go.
right there at the end of our block.
yeah,
you
we're a
know,
couple blocks from the bay.
both ways.
So yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go, and I'm like, I'm gonna go too. Like I gotta see, you know. So our parents watched the 2-year-old, and we started walking because you couldn't take your car you couldn't get
you
a
couldn't
driveway
walk.
away. Yeah. So I feel like every road that we went down, we would try to go down Comma, we tried to go down Gay, and every road.
Kimbrell,
We just couldn't. There's too many trees.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a little bit of a belly at the time. I mean, so it was just insane. So we finally made it all the way to South Gay and like Boat Race in South Gay, where all those trailer parks are right there in the different letter streets.
Oh, not
And that
good.
was the road that
Not
we
a push
walked
in the right
down.
direction, seeing that trailer park.
So
That's actually where I grew up. It's on Cherry
Really?
Street right there. So I would go down, is it Boat Race? Or not Boat Race, the docks, the road the docks are on.
okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah, that's insane.
Beulah.
Yeah,
is
where the
road.
playground is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
We went down
literally grew
there.
up on that street.
Okay.
So I know that area post-storm, I mean, it was immobile.
Oh.
Immovable, hard to even walk.
Is
But
that
like
the
you
same
said,
one? This is the one
That's
on
where we
Gay.
went. Remember when we stood there for gas for forever?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
it's where we
Not a
stood
gas
for-
station. You mean where
It's
we
where they
stayed
set
for
up for gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought it in. They gave us
brought in
free
gas.
gas, 5 gallons or something.
So it's a mile walk from my mom's house to our house. And so we just started walking. Like I said, it's constantly hopping over trees, under trees. So that was insane. So we finally get to our house, and looking at it, we're like, okay, like it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I will say we are very lucky compared to a
Very
lot
lucky.
of people.
Both of our
a lot
neighbors.
of people.
So there's a little bit of hope looking at it from the outside.
From the outside,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure, yeah. And then, I know you see the microphone, huh? So, all of Rosemary's toys are scattered for blocks. As you're walking to the house, all these toys. Hi. You're like, hey, that looks like Rosemary's this, and this looks like that. And I remember
Yeah.
one of her playhouses, which is pretty heavy plastic, was across the street and like 7 houses down in their trash pile. And I'm like, it would have been pretty insane to see that like flying through the air. So yeah, we get to our house. The house looks okay from the front. Of course, there's like stuff everywhere. And then we get around to the back, and we had one of the most favorite things about our house for us was our giant back porch.
Oh.
It ran the whole length of the house, went out like 20 feet. Back porch is gone. And it's funny, like I said, we had a whole bunch of stuff out under our back porch, but they were in plastic bins, so I didn't think anything of it. And it was a lot of Christmas decorations, and it looked like Christmas had like thrown up all over our yard. Christmas ornaments everywhere, Christmas decorations everywhere.
Yeah, tinsel and stuff
Yeah,
everywhere.
so I feel like we're still finding bits and pieces of Christmas ornaments places, which is
for
kind of
sure.
funny. Yeah, still finding pieces stuck everywhere. You may have to stand up. You can still talk. We can hear your voice,
okay.
right? Yeah. So yeah, we get back to the house because I'm still gonna look at you to help me out with certain questions too, I'm sure. So yeah, Christmas stuff everywhere. And then we noted, like I said, the back porch was gone, and when the back porch ripped off, we have a metal roof, it ripped off a portion of our roof. But it's a metal roof and then a shingle roof underneath it. So it ripped off the metal roof, and then parts of the shingles and the hardwood was exposed underneath it. So we knew that we had roof damage. Our shed somehow still there, didn't move.
Yeah. Things light as a feather, cheap, maybe.
I just keep saying we got really lucky. I don't know how. We had one tree in the front yard and one tree in the backyard, but our neighbors had pine trees everywhere, and
They sliced
we
it
lucked
and tasted
out.
like
But
butter.
unfortunately, I mean, the 2 houses on both sides of us got smashed, and we have roof damage and, like I said, our porch and stuff, but nothing like them. You know what I mean? We lost our fencing.
With the shed too, I would, you immediately want to think what was different about your shed than the other sheds, but also too, probably not much because
I have no clue.
the wind, what it chose to touch.
Oh,
what it
it's
And it
chose
may
to
have just been
where
that
it
funny
was.
angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
that-
weird. Some things it left alone, and you had entire bathrooms blown up with a roll of toilet paper still sitting
Oh,
on
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Where it's supposed to sit. Yeah.
Which is
My
odd.
buddy in
Wind is
Miami, his neighborhood was big 2-story houses, and both of his neighbors were white down to the slab, and his house was almost untouched between the two of them. It was the craziest thing I ever seen.
But they said there was tornadoes throughout it, right? Was there any?
So, not technically traditional sense of tornadoes. There was
Okay.
no confirmed tornadoes by the National Weather Service, but I don't like saying that to someone that saw a whirling sensation that
Sure.
picked stuff up and looked like a tornado to them.
And you see the
Yeah.
trees
So
twist.
there's certain types of like phenomenon in big eye walls like that, like mesocyclones and little tiny little vortices that look to just the
The naked eye,
when
like
you're
a
looking at
tornado.
it, you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
this looks like a tornado. It's spinning stuff up. So I like to say that while there was no scientifically traditional tornadoes that dropped in Hurricane Michael, essentially Hurricane Michael felt like one big tornado. And there was lots of little things in it that could look just like tornadoes and acted just like tornadoes, did the same type of damage that tornadoes did. So yeah, to answer your question.
We have these French doors in the back of our patio that lead to our dining room, and the doors got busted open. So all the water from outside basically came in. So everything that was in our dining room, which we only have a 3-bedroom house, and we needed the 3rd bedroom, so we had kind of moved everything, and the dining room was kind of like the storage place for all the new baby stuff, So all the new baby stuff got wet, like our baby swing and stuff like that. But we we ended up lucking out pretty well. I was able to, of course, dry some stuff out, and then everyone was very generous and helped us out with things. But the back doors got swung open, so everything got wet inside the house, and there was like leaves everywhere. I feel like you can still see like bits of leaves or something on the ceiling. I don't
We have to
know.
pressure wash our house. I mean,
We still haven't been able
there's
to make
still
any
stuff
repairs.
jammed in the bricks. And
So that's the next thing is
So coming up on a year anniversary.
Coming up
you're
on a
still
year.
working on repairs.
we haven't
we just
started
settled in court
with
getting money
the.
from them lowballing us by an ungodly amount.
We had
So
the
we're
insurance
just
come
about
out.
to start working now.
Yeah, we had
We're
insurance
looking for
come out.
contractors.
Yeah, looking for contractors, if anyone knows of anything. Yeah, they came out and did their inspection and stuff, and the guy, it was just insane. But they lowballed us. We had to get a public adjuster, and here we are a couple of weeks shy of the hurricane, and we had to take them to court and battle them in court.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole thing, we have not been able to make any repairs whatsoever. So we still have a blue tarp on our roof. The water, and some of our portions of our bedroom, we've had to move out of our master bedroom. We sleep on an air mattress in our living room at night right now.
We just got flooded the other day.
So that big storm, the big storm that just came through.
The
Definitely
carpet that
wanna-
survived the hurricane, I had to cut it all out and
feel like it,
drag
like,
it
just
to the
keeps going.
road just the other day.
That's a really good, because being friends with you on social media and seeing you go through that, you were like a prime example of the recent rainstorms that have moved
Oh my
through.
God.
The way the water has, the drainage
The drainage is
systems
completely
are still being
clogged.
worked
not
on.
moving, just wasn't moving.
So go into that for like a minute. Just expound upon how coming up on a year anniversary of the hurricane, while you're trying to recover, and the damage still creeping into your home.
Yeah, I think we had more damage, I guess, throughout like our living room than that last little rainstorm than the actual hurricane, because
Yeah.
most of the hurricane damage was in the back of the house. But we had this rainstorm come through, and it was flash flooding. I mean, it came up out of nowhere. Drains are
We
flooded.
had 1.5 feet in the yard, easy.
And it just started coming up, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And it came in, it started coming in the doors in our dining room. We have two different
Had a
outside
wet dry
doors.
vac running
We had a
from
wet
door
dry
to door.
vac, trying to
With a little
soak up
dam
as
built,
much as
trying
we
to dry it as fast as I
could.
can, dump it, dry it, dump it, dry it, dump it. Then it,
And this is not flash flooding style that you experienced pre-storm.
Never.
Never.
We've never had that the whole time.
in fact, the old timer that lives across the street said it hasn't
It's
happened
never
in
happened like
60
that.
years like that. So he said it was for sure the drains on that side of the road, which they did. They came by, dug it all out. I mean,
Yeah, a couple
little
weeks
later
later.
than I would have liked, but
But I mean, the water was coming in the back door
And then
and the front
finally-
door, and we ran out of towels. I mean, like you're throwing everything you can, and we ran out of towels. We ran out of sheets. I started going to the kids' rooms, and I'm grabbing like all their blankets and the fleece blankets and swaddling blankets, and we're throwing them down.
then
and
it
like,
started coming under the
and
walls.
water's still coming in, and we had.
And then that was it. We threw everything down. And
Eventually, you just have to give up and just say, okay.
made a drink.
Yeah, we just stopped and we're like, all right, whatever. So we did as much as we could. I was throwing quilts down. We had clean laundry on the couch. And I was just throwing whatever I could to soak up the water, which was insane. But like I said, we gave up. And this was in the dining room, and then it went into our living room, and it was coming in under the wall in our living room. So then we had to start ripping up our carpet. And we had to rip up our carpet throughout the whole living room and starting down the hall just from this last little, like this is a year since the hurricane, and that we're still having to rip up our carpet.
The first wave of it, the night before, we were able to cut back our carpet to a certain point.
We dried up the carpet with
dry everything. I
towels.
dried the
Spent
carpet.
all night drying the carpet.
Went through everything to keep it nice, and then the morning when I was getting ready for work, it hit again. It started rising. I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna come to the door again in a minute here. I better stick around before you know it.
And it came in waves. Like it came in once the night before, and then it flooded the next morning, and then it would go back down. And then, I mean, it came like 3 or 4 different times. Like 3 or 4 different times was like a giant freak out trying to keep the water out of the house.
That particular week we're talking about was early September. I can't remember the exact week, but it was very significant amount of rainfall the area had not seen in a while.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was a lot. And then combine that with the lack of trees to drink the water up and the damaged
But
storm
in a
drains
few hours,
from the hurricane.
in 3 hours,
On
or
top
That's
of
4
insane.
that
hours.
much
Yeah.
rainfall was
Never
just a
seen
bad
anything like
combination.
that.
So
Yeah.
your recovery is getting stalled by that.
Yeah, so
Obviously.
we finally settled in court. We should hopefully be able to start making repairs to everything now.
Good.
And I do want to say, I'm a union electrician. I do industrial construction, and I was in Atlanta at the time. We were building the Google plant there. It was not a bad job. I usually have to work out of town because there's not much union work around here. Even though the chemical plant is where I've been for the last year, they did hire union electricians to rebuild the chemical plant. So that was outstanding. I
Yeah,
mean,
he usually works out of
able
town,
to
but
stay
thankfully
here.
we've had hurricane
And on
work.
the way out of Atlanta, they were so helpful. They raised a bunch of money for me. The company, the local union, the management, I mean, they were.
That was the Atlanta local,
Yeah,
right?
but they raised $1,500 or something unbelievable.
Yeah,
I
just
like
gave
to
it to us.
always
Oh my
highlight the
gosh.
silver linings in disasters.
Oh, the guys were great there.
The
And
fact that hurricane work has allowed you to stay home and close to
Oh,
family, that's a silver
We've
lining.
never had that. The
yeah.
whole time we've been together, he's been on the
I've never
road.
been able to work
He's
at
never
home.
worked
I usually
home.
have to bring them to Chicago or wherever I got to work for 3 months or 6 months.
And
So
it
we
just so
never are
happened.
able to stay at home for a while. But I've been able to put them to bed and wake them up every
He was
day.
here for him to be
Drive home at
born.
breaks and lunch. I mean, the chemical plant is 4 minutes down the street from us.
Yeah, it
So
works out.
we can't ever take the hurricane back and it happened and that is the way it will be. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
because it happened, you have this little silver lining
That's
that
right.
you gotta hold
Yeah.
on to every little thing you can through recovery.
no,
He's been able to work at
Really
home.
That's an
Yeah.
awesome thing for you to be able to have and hold on
For
to.
sure.
Well, that's awesome, guys. Any hopes for the future? I know you're just now getting to get to your repair, so you're still in the middle of it.
Oh, we got
You're-
big hopes
yeah.
for the future.
Your hopes are getting
And
on
we're
the
hoping to learn
rebuilding.
by everybody else's wrestling around with different contractors and stuff, and I hear the nightmare stories of everybody. I mean, we've been hearing everybody for
Yeah,
a year now, and now maybe we'll be lucky to learn from everybody else's experiences here with good contractors and all that ways to do things. But all of that. We're finding out that there's a large group like us too that are 1 year into it and just finishing with their public adjuster and their court. So I'm sure there's a number of people just like
You're not
us.
alone. Yeah, I've spoken to a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want
It's
to
a
thank you
loss.
because whenever I reached out to you, remember when my car insurance, State Farm, and they,
I thought about that.
Oh my
I was telling him about
So
that.
I tangented in my brain while we were talking, but I did mean to highlight that. One
Yeah.
of the things while I was studying and you and I communicated via social media, right out the gate of the storm and communicating damage to your insurance company, I learned this working with her that if something of the scale happens, your property is damaged, go ahead and collect weather reports with dates and times.
Yes.
So if,
We never
if
would have
something,
I never-
thought.
yeah, if an institution tries to say, well, this isn't rain damage, it didn't rain, you have proof saying,
Can you
no,
imagine?
it rained, here's the date, stamp, radars, collect as much evidence
Correct.
as you can for your
She
insurance
said there's water
company.
in the roof, on the roof, or inside the ceiling of your car. We said, come on, our window. I mean, it's flooded in the car. Come
Yeah,
on.
and here's the weather forecast.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
why I reached out
radars
to you.
and
I was like,
hurricane.
look.
That's-
Just because you're in a different state
Yeah,
or
for
wherever.
bureaucratic purposes,
which
you
still,
want as much evidence
no one
as
knows.
you can.
That's for sure.
You have to file it away, build your case. I mean, that's a really good thing the project can shed a light on too, is when you are getting evidence for claims and having to go to court.
Take
like they
pictures
did,
of everything.
Have those forecasts, screenshot them, take those radar pictures, have it all on file. It's a great thing to
Yeah.
do for your recovery purposes.
You wouldn't think you'd have to, but if it shaves a month off of dealing with someone
It's worth
and finally getting help.
And it is
Jesus.
essential to get to recovery and rebuild as soon as you can to mitigate the
Oh,
long-term damage.
for
So
sure.
as fast as you can get to the fact you're just getting to start, I mean, that's just,
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a storm that's ripped our blue tarp off, and I've been out there in a
in the
Yeah.
storm.
driving rain, putting
yeah.
a thing back
that's just
together.
more damage occurring that may not have
Oh,
occurred
for
if you were,
sure, for sure.
if you would have been able to get to rebuilding
sure.
quicker.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So
yeah.
anything that you can do to help is important, and little tricks and catastrophe hacks like that's one of them to highlight. But-
Sure thing.
Well,
Yes.
guys, thank you so much for coming out
Yeah,
and
it's
sharing
great
your
talking to
story
you.
with
Yeah,
us
thank
and
you.
little Hurricane Michael's voice. I don't know if the camera caught his smile and looked at me. I was like, oh my god, I
It was classic. I'll
It was a
vouch for it.
But yeah, it's so funny.
Smile.
I hear a lot of like the people, no one even like wants to say the word Michael. You know, like, I don't know. I feel like people
Yeah,
like,
some people like that. We named him Michael, and some
Yeah, a lot of people are like,
horrified when
Michael.
it's
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
but I'm
it
like,
is-
look, we survived it. Like, we're stronger because
Oh,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
there's no doubt
I don't
about
think
that.
anything negative about it. You know what I mean? Like, to
Yeah.
us, it's, I don't know, it's not a
It was a
bad.
storm that changed things.
Yeah. And everyone always says like, oh, I bet you won't stay there again or like write it out again. And I probably sound crazy for saying this. I feel like I probably would. I don't know. That whole first week of not being able to get into town, or, I mean, the
after
traffic was
seeing that.
insane. But just not being able to know what your house looks like.
Can't
Thankfully, we were able to
imagine.
get there right
Yeah,
away,
yeah.
but
There's so many different perspectives.
but if we were in
Right,
Mexico
'cause,
Beach, we may not
'cause,
feel that way. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying because, like, I'm a weather freak, obviously. Went into meteorology, a storm chaser, love weather. And because of how everyone has experienced this storm differently in their own perspectives, how they've received it, how they're healing, and how they're recovering, I have to temper my weather fanaticism out of respect because you're right. Some people receive that differently.
Yeah.
I can't. If I had a little one, I'd want to name it after a storm
Yeah.
that changed my life.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. Some people receive that passion and that enthusiasm
It's
for
still-
storms differently.
it still
I
hurts
get it. I
people
have
when
to
you talk
mitigate
about
mine,
it.
out of respect for people's how they receive it. But I love it. I love Michael.
I always thought that I would leave a storm after Hurricane Andrew. I always thought, oh, I would never stay through it again.
Hey,
but then when
stinker,
it came
what are you
time,
doing?
I wasn't even
You were
thinking
rushing
twice
into
about
You
it. Yeah.
I was the only one racing into it. I know that for a fact.
You had a good reason to, though. And
Yes.
I'm glad you guys made it out
Yeah.
okay and you get to stay in the area. And you really get to stay in the area
That's
with your
right.
job.
Yeah, it worked out.
The city's going to come back, it's going to rebuild, and it's going to be with community members such as yourself
That's
that
right.
we do. And
That's right.
your voices, now you're part of Project Hurricane Michael's Voice. It's a we thing now when I talk about it, us, we,
Yeah.
our project. And thank you so much for coming out.
Great, we
Thank
love
you.
it. No, I appreciate it.
Thank you.